I wonder if you've been facing opposition when it comes to spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, or maybe not even spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, but just living your life out as a Christian in general. Maybe you have people that you see or that you're around from time to time at work, school, college, places like this, where they talk about Jesus, they talk down about God, they make jokes that are ignorant. Um, we see this type of thing all the time in the public, but I understand that most people in general are not Christian, right? There's a large population of the world that don't want anything to do with Jesus. So how does one persevere in that type of a setting? A buddy of mine just got in trouble. Now, mind you, this was at work. He shouldn't have been reading his Bible at work anyway, but he got in trouble for reading his Bible at work. Now, this guy has come a long way. In previous years, he's gotten in trouble for fresh concrete being laid on the ground. And what do people like to do when there's fresh concrete? They like to draw things in it. And so this guy drew a part of the male anatomy in this concrete. Now he got in trouble at work for that. This was years ago. Now, as a saved Christian man, he's reading the Bible at work. Now he's being persecuted for his faith. Um, I think there's a contrast there. You know, you go from being one way to now you're reading the Bible at work, you're getting in trouble over that. Another guy at my job was complaining about how his brother is a Christian and always keeps sending him all these Christian songs that he's in charge of the media at church and he does these remixes of popular Christian songs. And this guy's complaining about how his brother keeps sending him all this Christian content. There's people out there that really don't love the Lord. And there's going to be people in, like maybe you're in ministry or you do YouTube content or you street evangelize one way or another. You go out and your assignment is to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Someone's coming up against you. Well, we see that in the Bible. The Bible tells us that these things are going to happen. And there are still people today that dispute the apostles' message. We have this very large movement of people trying to say that Paul was a false teacher. He is not an apostle. And therefore, all his teachings are heretical and we shouldn't listen to them. They say that he preaches a different gospel than what Jesus preaches and that he preached himself. He spread his own message. So there's always going to be some type of opposition when it comes down to you spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ as well. I want to give you guys some biblical examples. This is 3rd John, and I'm going to be reading verses 9 and 10. This came up in my Bible reading just not too long ago, just a few moments ago when I was reading the word. And verse 9 says, I have written something to the church, but Diotrephes, who likes to put himself first, does not acknowledge our authority. So if I come, I will bring up what he is doing, talking wicked nonsense against us. And not content with that, he refuses to welcome the brothers and also stops those who want to and puts them out of the church. In this letter, this book of John, 3rd John, this is written to Gaius, and he's telling him that this guy Diotrephes, that I guess used to do ministry with him, is now coming up against them. And you see what it says right here, who likes to put himself first. I think that's the biggest indicator of why people choose to not follow Jesus or the gospel that Jesus spread, because it calls for you to not be first. It calls for you to be last. It calls for you to always put others before yourself. It calls for you to be sacrificial. Things that you want to do or time that you want to spend doing things that, edify you or, glorify you or give you instant gratification. You might have to not do that in order to go serve others. A lot of people don't want to put someone else before themselves, but he doesn't acknowledge the authority that comes from the disciples, the apostles. Sound familiar? I just got through talking about how people don't want to honor Paul. He's coming to tell them in person what wickedness that this guy's been doing against them, but he's also trying to keep people out of the church that are okay with this message that Jesus is spreading. We see this with or without Christians. We see this in the world a lot today, right? Now, I know that as someone that's in ministry, you will face opposition. You will have someone that comes up against you. But what about inside the church? Well, we see this also with people spreading different doctrines, doctrines of demons. People, especially nowadays with this prophetic ministry that's taken flight like it has within the last few years. Everyone puts emphasis and glory on the prophet instead of pointing back to God. So there's these people with these big prophetic ministries or these, YouTube channels where it's really all about themselves. the Lord told me this, and I'm telling you, thus saith the Lord this, thus saith the Lord that. Not that I don't believe in the prophetic ministry. I do believe that God still uses prophets, but we're supposed to use discernment of spirits when it comes down to this. And I just don't discern that a lot of these people are true. I think they do it for clout. When it comes down to spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, though, you're never going to make everybody happy. Even within the Christian body, somebody's going to say you're a heretic because you believe in the Trinity, or you don't believe in the Trinity, or you believe in once saved, always saved, and someone else doesn't believe in once saved, always saved. There's all these different things, and a lot of them are secondary. A lot of them don't hinge upon your salvation. Is it okay for Christians to smoke weed and drink? Is it okay for Christians to fornicate before marriage? No, these things are not okay, but there are people out there that think that this is okay. You're never going to be able to please everyone. You're never going to be able to make everyone happy. And the truth is if you are making everyone happy, you're in compromise yourself. We're not supposed to be here to be friends. We're supposed to be here to win souls for Jesus Christ. That is the assignment. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have to tell people some hard things about themselves. You're going to have to confront some sin. You're going to have to do these things out of love, with tenderness, and with care, because the Bible says we do everything with love. We can't do it out of hate. We can't do it out of shamefulness. We can't guilt trip anyone into following Jesus. We can't shame someone into following the gospel. That's just not how it works. And in fact, if you do it that way, you're going to reach more opposition than you will breaking through to the person that you're trying to minister to. I want to encourage anyone that's facing opposition right now that you're not the only one. And this won't be the last opposition you face, but it doesn't really matter if you're facing opposition, because if you stop facing opposition, you've probably gone into the realm of people pleasing, and you're just saying what everybody wants to hear instead of standing on business like you should. That's going to do it for this one. Leave this video a thumbs up, guys. Catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.